And do you remember how do we form these tag questions? According to the ones that you have here, how do we form them? According to the ones that we have here and the video you saw. Do you remember how do we form these tag questions? No? No, no recuerdan. Okay, so when we have tag questions, we normally have a statement, okay? And then we have the tag question. Something that is very characteristic about these tag questions is the comma. Don't forget that always after the statement, we have a comma, okay? And we form this tag question with two parts, okay? We need an auxiliary verb, always an auxiliary verb, and then a subject pronoun. As you can see here, we have exactly the same. Auxiliary verb and subject pronoun. Auxiliary verb, subject pronoun, and like this in all the tag questions we have here. And in all the examples here, we have the comma, right? So in all of them, we have a comma. So this is how we form tag questions. Okay, so we're going to check some of the rules when we are using these tag questions. Okay. Remember, when we have an affirmative sentence, according to the exercises that you have here in your book, affirmative sentences, how do we form our tag question? How do we form our tag question if the statement is affirmative? For example, sentence number 1, sentence number 2, number 3, number 5, all of them are affirmative statements, right? How do we form the tag questions for these affirmative statements?
With a negative.
With a negative?
Tense.
With a negative auxiliary verb, right? Yes, so we need a negative tag question. Okay, remember that for tag questions, we always need to contract the auxiliary verb and the negative form. Okay, so auxiliary verb and this auxiliary verb is contracted. Okay, for example, we have already studied this topic, hadn't we? Or hadn't we? Okay, then we're going to check the intonation of these sentences, these questions. As you can see, the affirmative statement that we have here with affirmative verb and the tag question is a negative, right? We use exactly the same auxiliary verb, but we change the position, okay? So the auxiliary verb goes first, and after that, the personal pronoun or the subject pronoun. Daniela will come next year, won't she? You can see exactly the same. Will, but we change will to the negative form, and we place the auxiliary verb first in that question, okay? What is the other way in which we can use tag questions? Do you remember? La otra forma en la que podemos utilizar estas tag questions. You have the example in exercise number 4 and number 6.
When the statement is negative?
Yes, when the statement is negative, so the tag question is affirmative, right? So we have exactly the same. We are not from here. You are not from here, are you? Or they didn't go to class yesterday, did they? Okay, so as you can see, when we have the negative form of the verb in the statement, the tag question is affirmative. So it's the opposite. Okay? Any questions until here?
Teacher, en the sentence 3 and 5, we use the auxiliary do.
3 and 5. Okay, we are going to check this right now. Okay, let's see. Here we have some examples of statements, and I want you to help me to complete them with a tag question, with the correct tag question. Okay? Number 1, he's still sleeping. ¿Cuál sería mi tag question?
Isn't he?
Isn't he? Very good. Okay. Tell me, please, Maria Jose, what could be the tag question for number 2? You go to school. Les envié 2 videos de tag questions, uno después de otro, cuando les explicaba las tag questions en los pequeños videos. Y también había algunos que no tenían auxiliar. Algunos statements que no tenían auxiliar. ¿Qué debíamos hacer con estos statements que no tenían un auxiliary verb?
Use the auxiliary to.
Why? Okay. Yes, we need to use do because the sentence is in the present simple, right? And the auxiliary verb we need or we use for the present simple is do, right? So, don't you? Okay, o sea, cuando no tenemos un auxiliar en nuestra oración, como por ejemplo en la primera, tenemos is nuestro auxiliar. Pero cuando no tenemos un auxiliar, lo que hacemos es buscar en qué tiempo gramatical está este statement. ¿Okay? Si está en presente, utilizamos don't or doesn't, or do or does. Si está en pasado, ocupamos did or didn't. Okay? Here we have another example. Leonardo, what do you think is the tag question here? Let's go for a walk.
Isn't it?
Isn't it? What do you think, guys? Isn't it?
Aren't you?
Aren't you? Any other ideas?
Teacher,
Do we?
can I say
Yes?
shouldn't we?
Shouldn't we? Okay, could be.
Don't we?
Don't we? Okay. Cuando estamos sugiriendo algo y utilizamos let's, la tag question que podemos utilizar para este tipo de sugerencias es shall. Shall we? Ok. Entonces, cuando es una sugerencia, ocupamos shall. Ok. Una sugerencia con let's. Let's do this. Ok. Entonces, aquí tenemos 2 excepciones. Las que están en rojo. Number 4. What do you think about number 4? Carla, how can we complete this one? We won't be late.
Will we?
Will we? Very good.
Will we?
Yes, because here we have the negative form of the verb will, right? So we need to use the opposite. What about this one? Nobody called. What do you think about this one? Ronnie. Nobody called. What could be the tag question here?
Didn't it?
Didn't it? Okay, could be. What do you think, guys? Do you agree? Okay, yes, we use didn't because here we have the verb in the past, right? But the subject pronouns we use is they. Why? Because this is an indefinite pronoun. Nobody, everybody, everyone. These are indefinite pronouns. Entonces, cuando tenemos este tipo de indefinite pronouns, we use they, como si fuese nuestro pronombre personal. ¿Ok? Did they? ¿Por qué utilizamos did y no didn't?
Because nobody is negative.
Nobody is negative, right? El sentido de la oración es negativo. ¿Ok? Si fuese everybody, ahí sí podríamos ocupar didn't. Didn't they? Porque el sentido de la oración es afirmativo. Let's go to the next part. Alison, what about this one? They will wash the car.
Won't be. Won't we?
Won't we? What do you think, Juan?
One day.
One day, right? Recuerden que siempre utilizamos el mismo sujeto que tenemos acá. One day. The next one, Diego. We must lock the doors. What do you think?
Haven't we?
Why haven't?
For the most, I don't know, teacher.
Okay, must is a modal verb. What do you think, guys? Juan Enrique?
Con eso de modals no estoy seguro, pero por mí didn't we.
Okay, what do you think, guys? Anybody?
It's
Don't
we?
Don't we?
shall we?
Shall we?
Shall we? No, any of them. Solo utilizamos shall we cuando tenemos let's. Let's do this. ¿Ok? Cuando tenemos un modal verb, como will también es un modal verb. ¿Ok? Entonces, como will, lo transformamos a la forma negativa, porque aquí están afirmativos, ¿cierto? ¿Qué podríamos decir? Si lo transformamos a negativo, sería... ¿Cómo transformamos esto a negativo? Nobody?
Must not.
We mustn't.
Mustn't we. ¿Ok? Recuerden que siempre debe ir contraído, si es negativo. What about this one? I'm right. ¿Cómo podríamos hacer esta? I'm right. Anybody?
Am I?
Am I? Am I? Like this? Pero es negativo.
Not I.
¿Cómo sería? Tenemos que transformar esto a la forma negativa. Ok, this is an exception too. Ok, cuando tenemos el verbo to be am, como no podemos transformarlo al negativo y contraerlo, lo escribimos así. Aren't I? Ok, utilizamos en lugar del verbo to be am, utilizamos aren't. Porque no podemos contraer am y not. ¿Cierto? No existe esa contracción. Entonces, por eso hacemos esa excepción y escribimos aren't I. Okay, what about this one? So, you bought a car.
Didn't you?
Didn't you? Very good. Didn't you? No tenemos acá un auxiliar, pero como nuestra oración está en pasado simple, utilizamos un auxiliar que es para el pasado simple. Didn't. Okay? The last one. You wouldn't like to invite my dad.
Would you?
Again?
Would you?
Would you? Very good. Ok, entonces estas serían las excepciones que tenemos cuando utilizamos las tag questions. Ok, recuerden que cuando no tenemos un auxiliar, utilizamos el auxiliar de este tiempo gramatical. Cuando tenemos algunas sugerencias con let's, nuestra tag question es con shall. Luego, cuando tenemos un indefinite pronoun como nobody, anybody, everybody, no one, everyone, ¿ok? Todos estos que son indefinite pronouns, utilizamos they, ¿ok? Pero también tienen que fijarse que aquí en esta oración no tenemos un auxiliar, pero nuestro verbo está en pasado simple, ¿ok? Y el sentido de la oración es negativo, por eso nuestro auxiliar es afirmativo. Cuando tenemos el verbo to be am y tenemos que transformarlo al negativo, no podemos hacerlo, entonces utilizamos aren't. Y este es el mismo ejemplo que tenemos en el número 2, ¿cierto? Estas son algunas de las excepciones que podríamos ver en las tag questions. Any questions, any doubts?
Teacher, en el 8, todos los que están con el I am, o sea, she is, o sea, todos los que están con el to be van así con el aren't.
No. Aquí también tenemos el verbo to be, no está con aren't. Solo es el verbo to be am.
Ok.
Y tenemos que transformarlo en negativo. Como no existe un negativo de am que esté contraído, porque recuerden que los negativos deben estar contraídos, entonces no podemos ponerlo contraído. Entonces ocupamos aren't. ¿Ok?
Teacher.
Yes.
Aquí entra también lo que son del there is and there are. O sea, también al final se pone aren't there o there.
Yes.
Ok.
Sí, podríamos utilizarlo también. Very good. Good question. Okay. Let's go to the book. Let's complete some of the exercises here. Okay. Aquí tenemos algunos ejemplos de lo que vimos. Ok, por ejemplo, aquí sí tenemos auxiliar. Vamos a resaltarlos. Por eso nuestra tag question era aren't you? Porque sí tenemos un auxiliar que utilizar, ¿cierto? En la número 2 también. Number 2, we have an auxiliary verb. So that's why we use, isn't it? This one, you actually played in a game this weekend. Here we don't have an auxiliary verb, right? So that's why we use the auxiliary verb that we normally use in the tense of this sentence. And here we have a verb in the simple past. So that's why we use didn't. The next one, we have a modal verb. So we can change this modal verb to the affirmative form. Here we have another one. It says, you have one last sport to talk about. And here we don't have an auxiliary verb, right? But we use the auxiliary verb that we normally use in the tense of this sentence. And in the last one, we have an auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb is haven't. So that's why we use the affirmative form of this auxiliary verb. Have you? Okay. Any questions?
Teacher,
Yes.
en esa de poner el con aren't, si está en negativo, se queda con am I.
Yes. Si está negativo, sí. For example, I am not her cousin. Am I? Ok, porque aquí está la forma negativa. Okay. Good. So let's complete some of the exercises in the book. Number 4. Look at the sentences in exercise number 3 again. When do we use tag questions? Choose A or B. So here we have the two options. When we don't know the answer to the question, or when we already know the answer, but we are just checking. So we said B, right? We said that we use tag questions when we are checking information, right? Let's go to number 5. Choose the best option to complete the rules. Okay, number 1. When the statement is affirmative, the tag question is
Negative.
negative. Very good. When the statement is negative, the tag question is affirmative. We form tag questions with an auxiliary plus a pronoun plus, or a pronoun plus an auxiliary.
Auxiliary pronoun.
Auxiliary and pronoun, right? This is the correct option. Very good. Let's check the exercises here. Also, we can also use tag questions when we start a conversation. Okay, for example, we want to start a conversation with someone maybe we don't know, or start a conversation with someone. And we can say, the bus is pretty late, isn't it? Or I worked in the bank. You worked in the bank, didn't you? The weather isn't very nice today, is it? Okay, cuando estamos empezando una conversación o cuando queremos revisar una información que ya sabemos, pero queremos confirmarla. Okay? Let's go to page 126. Here we have some exercises. It says, match statements 1 to 10 with tag questions A to J. Okay, Mark's coming tonight. ¿Qué podríamos decir ahí?
Isn't he?
Is he? Sorry, isn't he?
Isn't he? Okay, very good. Number 2, Michael's been to Paris before. Michael's been to Paris before.
Hasn't he?
Hasn't he? Very good. Number 3, we shouldn't come early.
Should we?
Should we? You will help me out. You'll help me tonight,
Won't you?
won't you? Tom and Dan can't speak Chinese,
And
Can they?
can they? You like soccer,
don't you?
don't you? Sarah called you this morning,
Didn't she?
didn't she? Carl isn't here,
Is he?
is he? She didn't pass her exams.
Did she?
Did she? The exam won't be easy,
Will it?
will it? Very good. So these are the tag questions, right? We are using the auxiliary verb in the opposite form, right? Or the modal verb that we have in the sentence. Here we don't have, but the verb is in the simple present, right? Here we don't have an auxiliary verb, but the verb is in the simple past. Here we have the verb to be, didn't, and won't. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next exercise. Number 2. Complete the sentences with tag questions. So let's see. Number 1, please. Ronnie, how can you complete number 1?
Isn't it?
The complete sentence.
Surfing an exciting sport, isn't it?
Okay. Number 2, please, Carla.
They are going to lose, aren't they?
Thank you. Diego, number 3.
Tina hasn't left yet, has she?
Okay. Number 4, Alison.
You don't know the rules, do you?
Okay. Leonardo, please, number 5.
Didn't you?
The complete sentence, please.
Sorry. You went running on the weekend, didn't you?
Thank you. The next one, please, Fanny.
Steven is working tonight, isn't he?
Thank you. Roberto, please, number 7.
It wasn't a great game. Did it? Could be.
Okay, but here we have the verb to be.
Was it?
Very good. Siempre cuando tengamos el verbo to be es como si fuese un auxiliar, ¿ok? Entonces no necesitamos did. Cuando tenemos el verbo to be, no ponemos do y no ponemos did, ¿ok? Sebastián, number 8, please.
We can go out for dinner tonight, can we?
Juan, please, number 9.
The Jamaicans won in this race, will it?
Again, please.
The Jamaicans won't win this race, will it?
Will it?
Yeah.
But the Jamaicans.
Okay. Will they? Sorry.
Okay, thank you. What about the next one? We have to show our passports. ¿Qué podríamos decir?
Don't we?
Don't we? No, it's not a present perfect, right? Si fuese un present perfect, sí podemos utilizar have como auxiliar, pero acá nuestra oración está en presente simple, ¿cierto? María José, what about number 11?
You've been waiting for ages. Haven't you?
For ages, yes.
For 8.
Haven't you? Very good. The last one, you used to go to that school.
Didn't you?
You used to go to that school, didn't you? Very good. Okay. So I want you to check. Do you remember that we have two kind of pronunciations for questions?
Yes.
Okay, what are the pronunciations? The two kind of pronunciations we have.
Up.
Up, and down, right? Do you remember when do we use the pronunciation in questions up?
When the answer is yes or not.
Yes, very good. And we use the pronunciation of questions down when the answer is longer than yes or no, right? So we're going to check the pronunciation of tag questions because here we have two kind of pronunciations too, okay? Pay attention to the audio and I want you to tell me which of them are up. The pronunciation of the tag question is up, go up, and which of them go down, okay? Pay attention. And then you have to tell me when. When do we need to pronounce this up and when down? So pay attention to the questions.
1. We've been to this restaurant before, haven't we? 2. You can't come to the party tonight, can you? 3. Her last name's Henderson, isn't it? 4. Your sister doesn't have a car, does she? 5. You went to the gym this morning, didn't you? 6. They won't stay at her house all week, will they?
What do you think, guys? What do you think about the pronunciation here?
Down.
Down. All of them down. Why do you think the pronunciations of these questions are down, all of them?
Because the answer is yes or no.
The answer is yes or no?
It's longer than yes or no.
It's longer than yes or no. Okay, any other ideas? What do you think the pronunciation is up or down? Or down? Ok. Aquí, si se dan cuenta, en todas las preguntas que tenemos acá, queremos confirmar información. Ok, entonces cuando queremos confirmar información, la entonación baja. Ok. Hay algunas tag questions que son para cuando no sabemos o no estamos seguros de la información. ¿Ok? Entonces, en esas situaciones, sí, la entonación va para arriba, goes up. ¿Ok? Entonces, cuando queremos empezar una conversación o cuando queremos confirmar información, nosotros hacemos la entonación para abajo. ¿Ok? Entonces, vamos a practicar la entonación de estas preguntas. So, I want you to read them. ¿Ok? Let's start with number 1. Sebastian, can you read the first one, please?
Okay, so we've been to this restaurant before.
The first one.
Okay. We've been to this restaurant before, haven't we? Haven't we?
Okay. Let's listen again the intonation and then you're going to repeat, okay?
We've been to this restaurant before, haven't we?
So?
Haven't we?
Very good. So, as you can see, we don't stress the last one, but we stress the first word, the auxiliary verb, haven't we? Okay. What about number 2? Please, Alison, number 2.
You can come to the party tonight, can you? Can you?
Ok, vamos a escuchar, escuche y luego repetimos, ¿ok?
2. You can't come to the party tonight, can you? 3.
So,
Can you?
todavía está diciendo can you.
Can you?
Ok, can you. Can you. Ok, la primera es la más fuerte. You can't come to the party tonight, can you? Ok.
Can you?
Very good. Ronnie, please, number 3.
Her last name's Henderson, isn't it?
Okay, good.
Her last name's Henderson, isn't it?
Okay, isn't it? The next one, please, Carla, number 4.
Your sister doesn't have a car, does she?
No, that's she. No. Let's listen.
4. Your sister doesn't have a car, does she?
One more time.
Does she?
Okay, the complete sentence?
Okay. Your sister doesn't have a car, does she?
Very good. And the next one, please, Juan Enrique, number 5.
Okay. You went to the gym this morning, didn't you?
Good. Let's listen.
5. You went to the gym this morning, didn't you?
Okay. The last one, please, Maria Jose.
They won't stay at her house all week, will they?
Let's listen, and you're going to repeat, okay?
Okay.
6. They won't stay at her house all week, will they?
They won't stay at her house all week, will they?
Will they?
Will they?
Will they? Okay. Thank you, guys. So remember the pronunciation of these tag questions, okay?